A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, ChristiTutionalist, Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with TheLibertyBeacon.com, and I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's L-E-N-A-R-D. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Welcome, everybody, to the ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast. Joining me, but before I get to my guest, David Weiss, a little bit of an aside, and kind of for David and any of his audience, ChristiTutionalist Politics. Yeah, my guests don't always have to have a tie to Christianity or to politics. I like some fun guests also that can be completely off either of those two topics. And if they happen to tie in along the way, that's great. That's wonderful. But the issue sometimes is I have people want to avoid this show because, of course, they get the misconceived notion. They see Christian in there. Some uptight Bible thumper. Right? And those of you who know me know I'm not that. And certainly I'm well aware. I think we all know some of them, uptight all the time, can't tell even a joke, right? Think they're not just better than everyone who isn't religious, but think they are holier than Jesus Christ himself. So with that said, this ain't that show. We'll have some fun and seriousness today. And why Dave's here is controversy as content. The flat earth is not just about the shape of the earth. It's a gateway to discussions on trust in institutions. We do a lot of that here. Scientific methodology, do that too. And the nature of belief itself. And we got to be open to questions. If you're so weak you can't handle questions, this is not the place for you. This can attract viewers who are into conspiracy theories, had a whole show on conspiracy theories, or simply enjoys Dave's humor brought into a discussion. So welcome to the show, Dave Wise, W-E-I-S-S. How are you today?
Not the first time I've heard that with my name. It's my life, and it's all good.
Yeah, it won't be the last.
Couple things I want to say. Is if you think flat Earth is crazy, that must mean that you think it's a globe, and if you think it's a globe, that must mean that you probably have a proof of the globe, and that's worth 3 Bitcoins. I offer 3 Bitcoins. Listen to the show. I have a 3 Bitcoin offer that's almost $300,000 as of today. For 1 globe proof. So hang in. Christianity and politics. Well, flat Earth does tie into both of those, and we'll get into that. And then the third thing is I just want to do a shout out to my brother in crime, Mark Zulu, who was live streaming a show last night and had a heart attack and passed away in the middle of the live stream. Awful. Oh. The boy was singing and dancing and drumming to the very end of his life. So,
whoa.
Yeah, it's heavy duty. But knowing what I've learned from flat Earth, you know how people say when someone dies, it goes, oh, they're in a better place, you know? And for most of my life, I just wanted to punch them in the head, right? You know, listen, shut up, right? Shut up. But what I've learned in this truth journey is there's nothing closer to, there's nothing truer than that. There's nothing truer than that. So it's sad for all of us left behind, but I know that he's rocking and rolling as an eternal soul.
Before we get into more the flat earth thing, theory, theorem, and all that, let's do the obligatory, though. Tell us about who is Dave Weiss. Where were you born? Where were you raised? What non-disclosed bunker city location are you in now? And, what, and most importantly, what is your favorite color? We got to know your favorite color.
Do I have a favorite color? Blue comes to my mind, but that's everyone says blue, right? Sky is blue, right?
But yeah,
today I like blue.
Okay,
right?
in all seriousness, no, where were you born and all that stuff?
I was born where I live, which is in Connecticut. So right outside of New York City. I live in Connecticut. Remember that. There's going to be a test question later. Okay. So, and I went to college. I went into corporate America. I worked for a couple big companies, rose to the top of those companies. I left the one that I was in the solar power business for my last career. And I started my own company with a couple partners, and we rose to the top of that industry. And then in the middle of all of that, my truth journey and my basically American dream. I literally went to college, went into corporate America, got my own business, and was making more money than I ever thought I'd make. Right. And then I was like, my truth journey is getting in the way. I got to leave one behind. This one has lots of money and things. And this one, at the numbers, then I'll just be scraping by. And I chose the truth journey. I chose the truth journey because my whole life I was taught things, power, money. That's what you want. That's the American dream. And don't get me wrong. We all like things. We all like money, right? But it's the freedom that brings. But I realized that this message is going to trigger some people, is the most important message out there. This is the most important deception over anything else, because all of the other lies, all of the other deceptions are grounded on the globe lie. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The problem is they've brainwashed everybody since birth that we live on a globe, that people will refuse to look at the evidence. I do a conspiracy podcast looking into anything, and I refused to look at flat earth because that's just one step too far. But then somebody I trust very much said, Dave, you got to look into this. And so I said, okay, I'm going to debunk it. I didn't say I'm going to look into it, look for the truth. I said, I'm going to debunk it, prove the globe, and be done with this nonsense. 10 years later, here I am talking to you, Flat Earth Dave, FlatEarthDave.com. You can find all my stuff there. And talking about God and talking about becoming your greatest true self. All of this is tied into the globe lie. So that's who I am. And that's where we are. And you mentioned, you said the deception in, what did you say? You said the deceptions in business or in the world. You were talking about something.
Well, I was reading not important here. Right. We'll get to it, I'm sure. But you touched on kind of two Christian related things already, right? You sought what was more near and dear to you as opposed to the pursuit of piles of money. And the misquoted, money is the root of all evil. No, Correct. That's not what it says. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. So there is that. The other thing is, like Lee Strobel set out to debunk Christianity. He was an atheist who married a Catholic, got crazy, said, I got to debunk this whole Jesus stuff, wrote for the New York Times or whatever, set out to do a series of articles, ended up writing the book, The Case for Christ, went from atheist to Christian because of his journey set out to debunk one thing. So your journey is similar, but kind of in reverse there.
So this is interesting. A lot of people, when they start looking into flat earth, they go, oh, this is a religious movement. This is a Christian thing. The Christians think that the earth is flat. There are a lot of Christians in flat earth, but for good reason, because there is over 200 verses in the Bible that talk about a flat, non-rotating, immovable earth. There's nothing in the Bible that talks about a spherical earth. And it's embarrassing to say, I guess you can call me an atheist before I found flat earth. But once I found flat earth, and by the way, atheism is the biggest religion of all. You have to have so many crazy beliefs to be an atheist. It's just insane. Like, if you're an atheist, you should be locked up in an insane asylum. Okay, that's
well, not all. I think Penn Jilletta, Penn and Teller is a very reasonable atheist, and I would love to have him on the show.
Oh boy!
But indeed, most atheists are out there, and don't dare call them.
I don't think he's an atheist. I think he's more of a Satanist, but that's a whole nother show. Right?
Atheism, indeed, the fact that you believe everything came from nothing is as much or more a belief and a faith than everything came from God.
Right. It's more of a belief than anything else. It's the craziest thing ever. Flat Earth is also the #1 censored topic, right? There's so much good information out there that if you saw it, you would never go back to the globe, but they're hiding it from you. Why are they hiding it? They'll show you the Loch Ness Monster, aliens from outer space. They'll show you fairies and dragons. Well, they won't even show you dragons because dragons, that's a whole nother story, right? And they're hiding it because once you see the flat Earth, you can't deny creation. You can't deny God. And once you are in a space where you can't deny God, they can't control you. If everyone knew without a doubt that there is a God and that we lived on a flat, expansive realm, all governments would crumble instantly. We wouldn't need to take them out. They would just dissolve. There is a higher authority. And I see your alarm just went off telling you needed to be here. Yeah. It's telling me 5 minutes. 5 minutes to showtime. So I'm showing you this is my app, the Flat Earth Clock app that bypasses the algorithm and gets you the true information. And in the image section, if I just type in dragons, I just got one image here. So just real quick, from 1946 dictionary, they're talking about winged serpents, now rare. Okay, now rare.
You can't find them at all now, but now rare.
But now rare. And then if you think that the Chinese zodiac had 12 real animals and one fake one, I don't know what you're thinking, right? But that's a whole other thing, right? I don't want to get. I mean, I do want to get into it. There's so much stuff I want to get into, but the creation of dinosaurs aren't real, in case you didn't know, was to hide giant humans and dragons. It's when we find their bones, they say, oh, that's a dinosaur, right? Dinosaurs were made up in the 1800s. None were ever found. Some world guy in the 1800s wrote a paper, published it, and a year later to the day, he and his team discovered the first dinosaur. Weird, huh?
Mighty coincidental, huh?
Yes, yes, I'm a coincidence theorist.
At any rate, we mentioned in the beginning conspiracy theory. Well, we're talking science theory here. Theorems, postulations, conjecture, speculations, what-ifs, all the different terms I could think to throw in to be about the same thing. But I want to talk science theory then about telescopes, which then may involve a conspiracy. If we look through a telescope, is Earth the only flat one? And Mars and the other planets in our system are round? Or are all the telescopes made in a conspiracy to make it look optical illusion to sell the round Earth that they appear round when we look through our telescopes?
Well, if we started with NASA, you'd find out that NASA is not a space agency, NASA, right? And these are 9 images of Earth from NASA. So they're all so different. Continent sides are different colors, just craziness that at least 8 of them have to be fake. Why would NASA show us 8 fake images and not 9? Okay, they're all fake, right? Taking a closer look, here's a 2012 image from NASA and a 2013. Look at the size of the United States and look at the size of the United States. Both these balls are the same diameter, right? What happened in 1 year, right? You can't say, oh, it's a different focal length, blah, blah, blah. No, that's nonsense. And then if you look at NASA, looking at the Earth from the International Space Station, oh, that's cool. Look at the curvature and look at this. It's so amazing. That's all inside that little circle there. So this is a third of the Earth, and it's all inside that circle. So what is this? This is a fisheye lens from a high-flying aircraft. That's all, right? Fisheye lens, right? And
So all
you
our
know,
telescopes are such, you're suggesting?
no. So this is coming from NASA. We're going to get into telescopes in a minute, right? When you Google flat Earth, this is what the Google will show you. No flat earther thinks that's flat Earth. Okay. Here's another picture. International Space Station. This is this. This is a fisheye lens. That's all it is. A fisheye lens, right? And if you want to measure, this is the famous. I think this is the 2012 picture. So here's the United States, and we can measure across Mexico and Baja, and we could actually measure that. We can't, measure it on here, but we can measure it on Earth, and it's 934 miles. Well, NASA tells us that the diameter of the Earth, the width of the Earth. No, circumference is all the way around. Diameter is across. Radius is from the center out. Okay, 7,917 miles. Okay, that's what they tell us. So I should be able to fit 8.5 of these in between these two lines. I can't even fit 8.5 of these on the page. Something is wrong. Something is wrong there. Okay, so take a look at this. If we look at where is it? That's what I wanted. If we look at we'll look at this one first. So here's that same image, which is right about showing about this much of the Earth. You have to believe that all of this land, all of this is on the other side of the ball. Does that make any sense to you? It certainly doesn't. But some people say, well, it's on the other side of the ball. You don't realize how much is on the sides. Okay, let's look at the other side of the ball. So remember, all of this is all we see on this side of the ball. All of this has to be on the other side. But if we look at this picture of the Earth, right? We got that. It's all right there, right? So all of this has to be on the other side. These are paintings. These are paintings, right? So there are no photographs of Earth. NASA even admits they have no photographs of Earth. They have pictures and images, right? Pictures and images of Earth, right? Because that's not a photograph, right? So they don't want to lie. This is what's on everyone's iPhone when iPhone first came out, right? Everyone's iPhone had that image on it, right? So, but if you look at it carefully and we zoom in, the clouds are stepped and repeated in Photoshop. We found the guy who made it. His name is Robert Simon. And he said, I made it in Photoshop from data I was given. And I made it in Photoshop. His famous line is, I made it in Photoshop because it has to be. Right?
Well, a couple things. First of all, this show is primarily heard by most people via audio platforms.
Oh,
so
boy.
obviously, this is one of those shows. If you haven't figured it out yet by now, you've got to go to the behind-the-scenes sneak peek video to see what all's going on, to understand
I'll try to be more descriptive.
What Dave is showing us. And the other thing, to lend credence to what you just said, again, not taking pro, con, for, against, just spitballing it here, to lend credence to what you say, we clearly know they are showing us artist renderings of the supposed other planets that, telescopes are incapable, if they're using FLIR or whatever and reflectiveness off of other star bodies to identify there is a planet in that position. That is their guesstimate of what the planet is made up of and an artist's rendering of what it looks like. But yet a lot of people do take as gospel that, whoa, they're showing me a picture of Outer Mongolia story of planet, and it looks like that. And no scope on Earth or space can take a picture of something millions of light years away. So, again, not siding or going against, just stating an obvious reality that agrees with your supposition.
Yeah, when you say, well, what about the James Webb telescope and the Hubble telescope? So I'm showing you a picture here of a picture from James Webb. Now I have three pictures. I got this one. This one looks pretty much the same, and this one.
You can't see much of anything from that.
Yeah, but let me point something out. I made this slide a while ago, I forget which one of these I made. I made one of these in a photo program, and it took me 3 minutes. Okay, so I made one. I couldn't even tell you which one it is because I don't remember, and they all look alike. So and NASA gets $73 million a day budget. That's how much. I don't think NASA actually gets that. I think it's all black budget stuff, but that's what comes out of your tax dollars, right? And by the way, tax. If you want to learn how not to fund terrorism, that means pay taxes. There are legal and lawful ways to do it. You can email me. Just find my contact on FlatEarthDave.com.
Wesley Snipes would love to have a discussion with you after his prison term.
Yeah, Wesley. Well, no,
sovereign citizen schemes.
No, not that at all. Not that at all. And by the way, Wesley Snipes, Al Capone, these were CIA operatives to scare you into thinking
compliance.
There's just ways to make you. If you want to make some more money, there's another $300,000 reward for anybody that can find the tax code that says that you are responsible for paying taxes. Try to find it. Doesn't exist. It's voluntary. You can find that it's voluntary, right? And if you fill out their forms and abide by their rules, then it's mandatory, right? But if you don't fill out their forms,
once you buy into the system, that's part of the sovereign citizen argument. And there's credence there. I'm again not trying to poo-poo that.
No, it's okay. I actually poo-poo the sovereign citizen thing. It's a good thing, but it's a fight. It's expensive. It's scary. And you can get into a lot of trouble. This is not that. This is just other legal and lawful ways to do it. But if you're interested, just email me. I'll give you a link. Check it out. Make your own decisions. I want nothing to do with it.
Now, you said something about like with government spending. Of course, I'm talking about the Doge, but you mentioned black budgets. And indeed, there's only so much anyone in government is able to drill down into any of the spending because a lot of it isn't what it says it's for. It's money laundering to black ops where they can hide anything and everything, all kinds of money laundering going on there. But indeed, that's a bit of an aside.
And again, the government doesn't need our money. The government just controls us with their fake money, right? That's what this is all about.
They keep telling us they could just print it, so why don't they? Yeah.
They don't even print it. The Federal Reserve prints it, who's a private bank. America borrows it from them at interest. Okay? It's the craziest thing ever. It's so crazy that it's unbelievable. But that aside,
it's part of the overall free market. We need growth. There's always got to be a degree of built-in inflation so that even when things are stagnant, they could say, look, things aren't getting worse. Well, that's today's dollars compared to yesterday's dollars, but they want to build in growth so they can always say, look, things are always growing. Things are always getting better. And it's not the case if you look at his inflation related dollars always. But again, that's another rabbit hole. Now you opened, can you show that graphic again? DITRH. You got that graphic you could show?
That's just my YouTube channel, which is DITRH.
That's the
other inside the rabbit hole. Inside the rabbit hole.
I talk about rabbit holes all the time, and that's exactly why you're here. Again, not agreeing or disagreeing, allowing you to present.
Yeah, I used to do a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. My YouTube, I have several YouTube channels: FlatEarthDave Interviews, the Flat Earth Clock App channel, and then and DITRH, which is all the DITRH videos are usually under 5 minutes. Most of them are just a couple minutes long. So it's little digestible bites of really good information. And if you go there for an hour and just flip through the videos there, you're a flat earther. There's no way around it. The problem is most people won't even look, but it's been changing. More and more people are hearing my interviews, hearing other people, seeing things. TikTok is doing a kick-ass job this year getting flat earth information out because it's not really censored there. And once you go flat, you never globe back.
Oh, I see and hear what you did there, and I like it. Me being the king of all lame puns and wordplay, I love what you did there. I can very much appreciate what you did there. But you mentioned YouTube. So, again, mainly audio, look behind the scenes. Chances are you won't find this on my YouTube channel, though, because they'll probably scream and holler and threaten to take my entire channel down if the video is there.
There's nothing that we're going to say today. Nothing that we're going to say today that will get you a strike or anything on YouTube. It just won't get promoted. That's
okay.
all. That's all. So, yeah. So here's the thing.
But Bitchute, Brighteon, DailyMotion, Rumble don't normally have any issues with them.
Perfect. On my website, FlatEarthDave.com, all my socials are there. Great. Like a lot of people just are liking X these days because they only have a few minutes to scroll through some stuff. I put tons of stuff on X. My X handle is FlatEarthDaveX. But you can find all my links. I encourage you to follow me. My TikTok is pretty fun, and the X is the best right now. And then all my YouTube channels are there just to get yourself up to date. You know, if you start watching my videos, not just this one, and my audio podcast also, there's zero chance that you will remain a globe earther, no matter how stupid you think this is. And if you think it's that stupid, you should be able to provide a globe proof, right? And by the way, the $300,000, in Bitcoin that you're going to get by proving is nothing, because you'll be the most famous person on earth that finally proved that it's a globe, because no one's been able to do it ever. And people are like, oh, Sosthenes did it 2,000 years ago. And no, that's a made up story that wasn't published into American books until the mid 1900s, right? Like the guy discovered the shape of the earth, the circumference 2,000 years ago, and they didn't write about it until the mid 1900s. Does that make any sense at all? Right. And his experiment is stupid anyway. It's impossible. And we could do it. Globers like doing a couple things. They like saying, oh, so-and-so 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. People from the past prove the globe, but nobody today. And then they also like looking up the motions of the sky. Let me ask you a question. I've got 100 acres of land, and you're an architect. And I say, hey, I want to build an amusement park on this land. And you say, well, let me go check out the land. And you come to the land and you break out your gear and you start measuring the angles to the stars. Does that make any sense? Or aren't you supposed to measure the land? Yes, you're supposed to measure the land. So the question is, the motions of the lights in the sky are fascinating. They do tell us something about the earth, but we don't understand what the sky is. In the heliocentric model, do you know what the sun is made out of? 99% of the sun is made out of helium and hydrogen. What happens to helium and hydrogen?
That's what they project it to be. We've not been there to sample it.
Right. But think about this. Helium and hydrogen defy gravity on Earth, right? They go up, right? So, and gas violently fills the available space. So if you had a can of soda and you open it up, instantly equalizes with the room around it, right? Air pressure needs containment. It equalizes when not contained, except in space. In space, helium and hydrogen collapse upon each other, make burning nuclear furnaces that burn for billions of years and have organized gravity that can hold on to Earth and hold on to Saturn and hold on to Mars and hold on to Jupiter and hold on to Pluto, but ignore our moon, ignore other moons, right? And the whole thing works perfectly. But meanwhile, there's a thing called the three body problem. The three body problem says that they can calculate what two bodies in a computer. They can say, I got a ball this big and a ball this big. They can put them into orbit and they could predict what it's going to do forever. Then they add a third body to that and it goes into chaos mode. And no computer in the world can figure out what it's going to do next because it just starts going ballistic. And that's just three bodies, right? There's billions and trillions of bodies. But for some reason, our sky is the most perfect clock in the world, more perfect than a Swiss watch, because Swiss watches are set to the sky clock. The sun and the moon and the stars and the planets are a clock for the days, seasons, and years.
All right, let's go to you mentioned gravity. Put a pin in that. I want to come back to that. But
you got it.
Let's go to the conspiracy. So obviously then one could contend, really, all that's a simulation so that it runs as they want it to, not as it should react. Is that a logical, reasonable question based on what you just shown?
Are you asking if it's a simulation?
Yes.
So the word simulation isn't quite right. It's a soul system. The creator created this realm, this construct for souls to have experiences. That's what it is. It's a system for souls. Now, if you were trying to lure away someone's soul, bring them into a soul trap, you would put them in a soul lure system, right? So the fake the fake heliocentric system.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm trying to ham it up as much as possible with you. So the solar system that they show us is demonic. It's super demonic, right? If you look into numerology at all, you take reverse numerology on where A is 26 and Z is 1, National Aeronautic and Space Administration, add up all those numbers, it's 666. That's just a coincidence, right? Right? If you look at the
numerology, yeah.
If you look at 6 times 6 times 600 is the circumference of the Earth. The Earth curves at 0.666 inches per mile. The Earth is orbiting the sun at an average of 66,600 miles an hour. The diameter of the moon is 6 times 6 times 60. There are hundreds of these. Hundreds. And they're all 666s. Isn't that weird?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Podcast fans, get more about your favorite podcasts via deepcast.fm, transcripts, and all kinds of extra available information on your favorite podcast, including ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, is listed at deepcast.fm, as well as, are you a podcaster? Well, you can claim your free listing and more via Deepcast Pro. Check out tinyurl.com/DeepcastPro for podcasters for your free listing, and that's the number 4 in there. tinyurl.com/DeepcastPro for podcasters, the number 4, Deepcast Pro, the number 4 podcasters via tinyurl.com extension. Take care, all. You gotta check them out. Get more out of your podcast, whether you're the podcaster or the podcastee. Yeah, I think I just invented that word.
Yeah, now I could tell, too, if you're going to try to read this in the transcript, give up. I might not even bother to generate one, because with plays like soul, lure, and solar, it is going to be so screwed up and say, what the bleep did he say there?
Yep.
But gravity. I want to go back to gravity. All right. An obvious question one would ask to challenge flat Earth is, obviously you're still saying there's gravity. Or besides the meme of the cats would have tossed everything off the edge of the Earth by now, jokes, water indeed doesn't just float off or spill off. There's still gravity somehow containing it all. You have to obviously contend, or if we just assume since the time of Christ, 2,000 years, how has not a lot of all that water just gone away?
When you say that Christ was 2,000 years ago, you're including 1,000 years of unproven time. I think that our dates are all wrong. They added 1,000 years to our history for this timeline for us to be on. And when you talk about gravity and water, large bodies of water need containment. Anything bigger than, let's just say a gallon or bigger, needs containment. Can you think of any body of water that doesn't need containment? That has containment.
Yeah,
you take the skin off your bottle. The
or
water
it just
needs
goes
to be
all over.
So the way I look at the Earth is like a pond, like a lake. Imagine there was a lake in Kansas, 100 miles across, big lake. Okay, right? And at the center of that lake, 50 miles from the edge, is a little island with a big, giant rock on it, like 500-foot high rock. Okay. And it's a magnet. It's a giant magnet. So you're on your boat 25 miles from the shore, 25 miles from the center of the lake. You can't see either. 25 miles away, you're not going to see it. It's just going to be too small. And the atmosphere is just going to, it's going to be really hard to see anything. But your compass is going to point towards the center of that lake, right? Your compass is going to point to the center of the lake. So if you try to go east or west, you're going to make a circle around the center of that lake, and you're going to end up right where you started from. If you keep going 90 degrees east or 270 west, you're just going to go around that magnetic center. That's just like the Earth. The Earth center of our pond is the North Pole, and they say there's a giant mountain there, a magnetic mountain. Some people call it Mount Meru. So that's circumnavigating east or west. Now we're going to get to falling off the Earth. If you and I were at the North Pole, and we had our backs to the North Pole, is actually like a pole coming out of the ground. And we both had our backs to each other.
Where Santa lives. Yeah. Santa's North Pole.
We have our backs to the pole, and we're facing in opposite directions. And we both start walking away. What direction are we both walking? We're both walking south because north is behind us. Even though we're going in opposite directions, south is every direction away from the center. Make sense? If the center is the north,
you're describing it, yes, there's a degree of logic to that. Yes,
that's true on a flat Earth and a globe Earth. Think about this: you're at the North Pole, and you walk away from it. You're heading south,
right?
But it's the same.
You're right. Either way, flat or round. That statement is how does one contest that? Right.
And I just told you how we can circumnavigate east and west on a flat Earth. It's been done billions and billions and billions of times.
Well, on a globe, that raises the obvious question of Columbus, but before we get there, water's got to be contained. So you're saying there is an edge. The Earth is not completely flat, but somewhat a little bit of a bowl. So there's a ridge, there's a rim holding in the water.
There needs containment. Okay, it needs containment. So when we go away from the center, we're going to go. And 50 miles later, we're going to hit the shoreline. If we were a cat, could we push anything off the lake? No, it's not going to fall off the Earth. It's just going to go onto the land, right? That land is higher than the water, right? Right. And so that land is containing the lake. On a ball in a space vacuum with air on top of the water, high pressure air adjacent to a vacuum while it spins, all of this stuff is nonsensical and scientifically impossible, right? So if you take the average elevation of all the continents on Earth, Antarctica is more than double the number 2 continent. Antarctica is the shoreline of our world. It is the shoreline that holds our waters in, right? When you get to Antarctica, it's like getting to the edge of a lake. It's just higher land that's containing our world, containing our water, right? People say, well, where's the ice wall? Well, it's not like the Game of Thrones. You can't push anything off of fake flat Earth. You can get to the edge where the land is. And guess what? That's off limits. All the countries in the world agree that nobody can independently explore Antarctica. Why is that?
Well, we do have expeditions there. We do have McMurdo, but I see what you're saying.
We have these bases. We have these bases where you
as well as the Nazi alien base.
Well, hang on. The aliens, the extraterrestrials, is something else. We'll talk about that in a second. But you have all of these bases, but they're all near the shoreline. They're all near the shoreline. They're just around. And the funny thing is, people over in the McMurdo base over off of South America never go visit the people off of the Australian base. They never come to meet because on a globe, it should be easy. Just cross over. But on a flat Earth, they're 80 hours away on a plane flight. 80. Okay. So
now the other thing about Antarctica, because again, we're going to try to cram a lot in here. And of course, people need to then go to get more at FlatEarthDave.com. So, but in the spirit of trying to cram as much in a smaller bag as possible. Well, let's move on. What about all the old maps or supposed old maps showing Antarctica ice-free? Is that play at all in any of this?
Oh, 100%. The maps of the world are fascinating. If you look at the UN map, it's literally the flat Earth map, right? Why does the UN have the same map as the flat Earth? It's basically, they're showing it. All of the agencies that run the world, they all use a flat Earth map. And the globe, people say, where's your map? Well, we have it. It's called the Gleason's map. It's the best map we have. It's better than your globe map, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? Disney in 1927, not Disney, Universal Pictures in 1927 had a spinning globe before NASA ever put anything up there to show us what it looked like. And then when NASA went up, took a picture supposedly of the Earth, it matched what they have perfectly, right? Weird how, why don't they just NASA? We don't need NASA. We just need Universal Pictures, right? And the question is, if the Earth is flat and Antarctica is the shoreline of our world, and we're not allowed to independently explore deep into Antarctica, what could be out here, out past that wall, right? What if there's more land out here? That would be extra territory. And if somebody lived on the extra territory, they would be extra terra, more land, extraterrestrials from where? The outer space. Right here, just thousands of miles away. A day trip, not
thousands of light years.
Well, no, you don't even need thousands of light years. People don't understand what a light year is. A light year is the closest star to our solar system is supposedly 4.5 light years. That's 25 trillion miles. Okay. Now, listen carefully. This is easy math. If we were traveling at 1 mile per second and we went for 10 seconds, we've gone 10 miles, right? Right? If we were traveling at 1 mile per second for 1 trillion seconds, how many miles have we gone? 1 trillion miles.
Should be,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, 1 mile per second. It's not a trick question.
Unless if we're using Common Core math. But
of course. So just follow me out on this, because I want to show people what the difference of these numbers are. So if we were traveling for 1 trillion seconds, we're 1/25th of the way to the closest star, right? Very easy, right? It's 25 trillion miles away. We've gone for 1 trillion seconds. We've gone 1 trillion miles. We got to do that 24 more times to get to the closest star, right? You with me? So let me ask you a question. How long is 1 trillion seconds? You want to take a guess?
It's such a big number to want to even bother to contemplate.
If you guess it within a week, I'll give you a Bitcoin. Take a guess. Just a wild guess.
I'm not even going to bother. I'll just plead my ignorance there and don't own a calculator big enough.
Do you think it's more than 100 years?
Probably.
500 years?
Probably closer to like maybe 1 million.
No, it's 31,000 years.
Oh, okay.
So you can't even fathom what that is. I don't think the Earth is that old. I think the Earth is much younger than that. So I don't think the Earth is 1 trillion seconds old. If we were going at
well, that certainly fits the biblical argument.
Absolutely,
more,
younger,
right?
Younger.
Yeah.
So if Elon lends us a rocket that goes 100,000 miles an hour, that's great, right? No one can't even fathom that speed. It's only going to take us 28,000 years to get to that star. And then when we get there and we find that there's no life, we have to go to the next star, which is magnitudes farther. Okay. Space is a way to dilute God, right? God created this realm, this construct for our souls to exist in, have these experiences with him right above us in Polaris. And how do you dilute something? You have a glass of milk, you dump it in a pool, it's pretty diluted. Dump it in the ocean, really diluted. You want to dilute God? Pour him into empty space, expanding, and not just empty space, expanding empty space. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're diluting God. They're making you live in fear, false evidence appearing real, and they're literally hiding your true potential. They're hiding your ability for your soul to manifest. Your soul knows the truth, but you came here. We have amnesia, and we're having this experience to expand the mind of the Creator, expand our minds. We are literally a spark in the Creator's mind, and so we're here to have this experience of true love. But they want us living in fear. The only, there's two statements, if I can remember the second one, it'll be great, that a president has said that are true. The only thing to fear is fear itself, because fear is how they control us, right?
Absolutely.
Fear is completely fake, because once you understand that your soul is immortal, nobody can take it from you, and you can't kill it, that's pretty freeing. That's pretty freeing. And once you understand that we are here right under God's creation, that's amazing. Think about this. All the planets, what do they orbit in the helio-satanic model that we're taught in school? They orbit the sun, right? All of the planets orbit the sun, right? And our North Star is only important to us because it just happens to be where our axis points towards the North Star. All the other stars, doesn't matter. They have different North Stars because they're all spinning in different different angles.
They'd in theory be some other planet's North Star.
Right. Yeah, right. However, if you look at all the paths of the planets, they make these beautiful spirograph patterns around Polaris, the sun, the moon, the planets, Halley's Comet, and every other luminary up there circles Polaris. Isn't that weird? They all circle Polaris. And in the Bible, it says that Polaris is where God's throne is. I think there's 7 heavens above us and there's some hell below us. So there is stuff below us.
Well, that's
and
where,
this realm
Dante's Inferno, which I don't
we're
fully
here
rule out.
in this third density, and the heavens are right there above us. The clouds are one of the heavens, I think. Right. And water, you know how they say water, a drop of water holds terabytes of information? Water holds all the information. I have a video. If you go on my app and you go to the video search and you search what is water, there's a comparison of water and God. Never does God mention the creation of water. Water is always here. And water, it has, like you can't live without water in you. You can't live without God in you. Right. You're like, when you're born, I think we're like 80% water. And when you die, you're like 50% water, something like that. And there's so many comparisons to water and the creator that, God's everywhere. Water's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. It's in everything. It's very interesting. That, we all.
Well, like I said in a special video drop, if you can't handle questions, you're weak. We're never likely to have all the answers. But if you can't handle the questions, you're pretty darn weak. You're not strong in your faith or anything.
One of the greatest things.
We could talk for hours and hours and hours, which is true of most of my guests. But in starting to want to wrap things up, I have got to ask, though, given all this, obviously, you have to have the belief to go with it, then the moon landing was faked. Yes?
Oh, my God. That's usually my litmus test. If you believe in the moon landing, I don't really want to have a discussion with you because you don't have critical thinking skills. So, I created this app, right, to bypass the algorithm. And on the more resources page, which is the button that looks like a spider web, I have a moon landing nonsense page, right? All the videos are there that Google's hiding from you. That shows you all the fakery. It's not a theory that the moon landing's fake. It was fake. It was filmed at Air Force Base. Who filmed it? That's another question. But space is fake. Air Force, the rockets that Elon's shooting up are fake. Elon's fake. Okay, everything is fake. It's crazy. But here's the thing: don't believe anything I say. It's up to you. You can choose to be ignorant and believe. Let me ask you a question: where do I live? Remember, test question. Where do I live?
Connecticut.
Do you know it? Or do you believe it?
I've not been to your house, so
I'm asking you a question.
I do not know it.
but you believe it, right? You
I
believe
accept because you told me so.
Right,
yeah.
right. So that's what we do all the time.
Your point, yes.
That's what we do all the time. We judge things and store them as true or false in our minds. You're like, why would he lie to me? He seems like a good guy. It sounds good. He sounds like he's got a little bit of a New York accent. Okay. And
that's another one of those. I love what you did there.
Yeah, thank you. So belief is the lazy man's knowing, right? But truth takes time and effort, and a lot of people don't want to do that. If you want to become rich, invent something that makes people lazier, okay? Because that's what everybody wants. They want the easy way, right? If you want to cook for your family, you got to go shop, you got to cook, you got to prepare, you got to cook, you got to clean. It's all thing. You want to go easy? Pick up some fast food. Want to go easier than that? DoorDash. Leave the door unlocked. They'll bring it in for you, okay? Right?
When you mentioned X, I nearly blew a gasket like I always do. X was one of the worst things ever. Twitter, then, right? I call it the twatter attention span.
I agree, but
perfect example. Laziness. Right. Give me the soundbite that can be distorted out of context.
Yes.
Details matter.
Listen, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk. On my website, FlatEarthDave.com, there's an Elon Musk banner. 5-minute video. All you got to watch. And then you'll know that he's a false, saver of freedom. However, the Twitter platform, now called X, is the one that gives us the most amount of freedom right now. It's still censored, but it gives us the most. So we're using their tools. Listen, we're using their tools right now. We're using Zoom against them. We're using the whatever we can against them, and that's okay, right? So like when they they created digital money to control us. Maybe Bitcoin could be, a tracking.
It's on the way to elimination of monetary physical money.
But
as discussed in the Bible,
off of that have come privacy coins like Monero, and we created a coin on our app called domeshot.io, right? And these tokenizations and other monies are literally a way to unplug. If you play on their ball field, you have to play by their ball field rules. And if you use their money, they control you. So there are ways that we can use their stuff that they're trying to control us with against them. We can use it against them. So, a lot of people say, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. There's nothing I can do. I'm just one person. Baloney. I'll just say baloney, right? Because just one person being awake, holding on to their God-given sovereignty, is that the right word? They're being a true person of God. You don't have to give up any of your rights. You don't have to give up anything. They can convince you that you do, but you don't need to. And once you unplug from the heliocentric matrix, you literally free yourself. You start seeing through the deceptions, and you don't have to play their ball game. I mean, my life is fantastic. I am never bored. The word bored and jealous is not even something that's in my vocabulary anymore.
Yeah. Well, sovereignty, there again, you blew the AI mind trying to transcribe the show. But at any rate, indeed, the usual end question, but we said it a few times. Where do people find you and that kind of stuff?
So there's FlatEarthDave.com. I highly recommend getting my app. It's $3. The trolls are going to show up here that says that I'm a grifter. I'm using an app that uses globe math and blah, 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 blah. Right? Nope. I'm just trying to save you some time. Right? The app is $3. There's a whole social media thing on there where you can, there's like a matchmaker, like a dating app on there, all sorts of stuff to find like-minded people. That's $11 a year. Pretty easy. I make a way so you can earn points with referral to get that for free, but you don't have to get that. And every day, here's the challenge. Every day there's a daily video right in the corner. And what I say is just watch that one short video every day while you're having your breakfast for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you think the earth is a globe, you can send me that proof and you win 3 Bitcoins. However, before you do, you have to hit the question mark button. And that opens up the top questions. Hey, what about Coriolis? What about, where does the sun go? What about eclipses? Why would they lie? That's my favorite. And these are videos that are all being hidden from you. So once you start seeing this stuff, you're going to thank me for waking you up. I get hundreds of thank yous now every week. People like, I thought you're crazy. I trolled you, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. You woke me up. Life has never been better. My wife hates me, or whatever, because but everyone is going to eventually wake up. Everyone. It's just, you're going to be ahead. You know what the definition of a conspiracy theorist is? Somebody who knows the truth before the general public does, right? You know the difference between a conspiracy theory and a fact? It used to be 6 months. Now it's like 3 months.
Yeah, that time frame is changed. So,
all the stuff.
All the memes about being a conspiracy realist. Please, I need to invent new ones. All my previous ones have been proven true. Exactly. But indeed, now as for your app costing, listen, the world we live in, things cost money. You
It's
gotta make
$3.
money.
It's $3.
It's not
not
like
about
you're
making money.
asking
It's about
$99.99, right?
people are saying I could charge $100 for the app. They love it. Just go read the reviews, except the trolls, of course. People love the app. It does so much more. I'm not even going to get into all the things it does. Check it out. The biblical section, the old world section. You've looked into the old world a little bit, right?
Of course.
The live. Right. There's a video in the old world section, but it's also on my website for free called Old World Order. Watch that. Turn off Netflix for the night. It's a 90-minute video. Watch it with the family. It will change your life forever. Okay? You'll be like, holy crap. Then the next time you go out in your own city, you're going to look around and go, how did I miss this? How did I miss this? It's going to open your eyes. You have a veil over your head, but luckily for you, it's the apocalypse there now, which means the lifting of the veil, right? They're making it easy for people to see. I'm here, as Darius J. Wright terms it, I'm doing the great work. The great work is helping people see through the veil, helping people understand what their soul's journey is, and freeing them from the heliocentric satanic matrix, right? And it's easy, and nothing pleases me more. So, FlatEarthDave.com. Check out. Wait, last thing on the app, on the website. There's a button, there's a big banner that says Crash Course. There, it's just a list of videos that are being hidden from you. Start at the top. If you get through 5 of them, you're a flat earther.
Okay. Now, if indeed you want to troll him, again, FlatEarthDave.com.
There you go.
Yeah. FlatEarthDave X on Twitter. I mean X.
It's all there.
Again, I'm not there anymore because Elon doesn't appreciate me talking about his Tesla vehicle fires and all his NASA subsidies. So
yes, the whole Tesla in space, that's another joke.
At any rate, thank you, Dave, for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And again, food for thought. I present, Dave presented, you decide.
Don't believe anything I say. Verify everything.
As Reagan said, right? Trust but verify.
It says in the Bible, verify all things. Trust no man, verify all things. Right?
Which is where Reagan got that from, yes.
Thanks, Joseph. And another shout out to Mark Zulu 1. Rest in peace, brother. We're going to miss you.
Yeah, what a shame. That's horrible news. All right, take care all. God bless. Okay, it has now been a couple hours since I actually completed the Zoom with Dave. I just wanted to throw in some closing thoughts. I am not asking you to accept what Dave is presenting or to completely poo-poo what Dave was presenting. In the short time we had, I wanted him to be able to present it to you. And then it's up to you to either look into more, or if you thought, wow, there are all kinds of holes in that stuff that Joe didn't think to add. No, we had a finite amount of time to fit things in. And please, as Dave was here to present that, if you know someone wants to come on and talk spherical Earth theory, let's discuss that. I would love, right? The donut or hollow Earth of a spherical Earth theorems. I would love to go into that. Or as I talk about, Journey to the Center of the Earth. We all know there are some deep caves that we've never gotten to the bottom of. So if not hollow or donut, which explain to me the difference. The donut has a hole, it's hollow in the middle. But I'm sure somebody can explain the differences of those two to me. The Science Channel, I've watched a few episodes, but didn't come away with that. But at any rate, or as I call it, the cavernous Earth, as I've coined it, right? The cavernous Earth, which can be true of both a flat Earth, depending on how deep the flatness, the thickness of the rabbit holes of the earth can and do go, limited on how deep the earth is. Indeed, if it's flat, like a plate or a bowl, again, him saying there are ridges, there has to be to contain the water. Yes, no, again. Now, I could have used the ploy he used, and let me state up front, I appreciate the delivery, the attempts at logic and reason, and the presentation he gave, right? Does he live in Connecticut? Well, I accepted he does because he said he does, right? I could have used that back on him on the whole sun. It's made of hydrogen and helium, which are gases, and how are they staying together? Well, he accepts that. Has he ever been there? No, none of us have. So if we accept it as far as it is away from us, none of us are ever going to be there anytime soon to check. And if we accept it's burning as hot as stated it is, it's too hot for any of us or anything to get close enough to actually check what it's made up of. The other wonderful logic and reason of his presentation I appreciated to mention here is the fisheye lens thing. Photographers who engage in photographic arts can and do often, I would hope, think you've seen such art at some time. They use indeed a fisheye lens to create a particular, I can't think of the word I'm looking for here, but a particular view of something. So there is logic and reason to that, whether you accept that's what is as he's presenting, or you think, again, there are holes. Joe didn't think to go down those roads, those rabbit holes. Okay, you know where to find them. He gave us a website. Feel free. And again, I'm not asking you to accept anything. I'm just saying I'm very happy to have had him on to let him present what he wanted to present. And spherical Earth people want to come on. Again, I'd love to discuss donut versus hollow versus cavernous and those things. Okay, so I just thought, because I went to dinner, was contemplating over dinner, felt I needed to come home and throw this ending segment in here. Very much appreciate Dave for coming on and his thoughtful way to present it. And yes, I realize I could have and should have, but again, we had limited time, pushed the telescope thing. So indeed, it's a conspiracy that all telescopes force a fisheye view of other planets to sell the spherical Earth theory, or lie, if that's what you want to believe, or all the other planets are indeed round and we see them that way, but somehow the Earth is the outlier, the flat exception to the rule. Again, as I said in the show, and I like to hopefully remember to repeat other times, do not fear the questions. We may not have all the answers. We may disagree on answers to some questions, but we should never fear the questions. And that's why Dave was here. That's why some others also, the atheist Liz Enton, you heard Dave and I talk about, we think atheism is a much bigger stretch of a faith and a religious belief, that not everything came from nothing versus a God creation of everything. everything came from something, as opposed to the atheist, everything somehow came from absolute nothing. But I loved having Liz on to talk about near-death experiences, NDEs, afterlife, her scientific, non-religious approach to, yes, there is enough scientific proof about afterlife from her perspective, while not being from a Christian perspective. I want different viewpoints, different people, different subjects on as my guests. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Hold up. Yes, another add-on segment. Now, after that I talked with FlatEarthDave, I thought of something else. An obvious question I missed that I might have thought of, indeed, if we were going to do a 3-hour interview, and now I better get going because this is getting way too long, right? But at any rate, of course, if you didn't know I was going to say that by now, you haven't learned about me much yet, have you? At any rate, China and the moon. All right, Dave says the moon thing was fake. So by default, then, what China is claiming to do, and if you follow me in the show, back in June of 2024, I had a in the news, things you might have missed. And one of those was China on the moon mining helium-3 and other things. So let me take the pro and the con, or the it's total bunk, or yeah, it makes sense they're doing it. Again, just presenting both arguments and letting you decide in the face of this whole show. All right, if the moon landing was fake, and as Dave says, all the rocket stuff is just fantasy, then why would China want to fake their own moon landings, per se, and that they're mining these things from the moon to bring back? Well, the logical, reasoned argument for that would be, and I don't mean to put words in Dave's or anyone else's mouth, but just me thinking about it. If I were to take the position that it isn't happening, how would you rationale that? Well, you would rationale that the Chinese are doing it for propaganda purposes. They're faking it for propaganda purpose. That would make sense. And the U.S. can't say anything about, well, it's all fake. They're not on the moon. We didn't go to the moon. Because then they'd have to admit we didn't go to the moon if that is indeed the case. So China gets propaganda value, faking it, if that's indeed what's happening here, and a propaganda win over the United States. Okay, so let's look at that other side now. And the obvious argument would be then, why would they be going through all this expense? Well, in part the same answer, propaganda purposes, but more so, was it Star Trek, Star Wars, Dune, the fictional unobtainium, right? If something were heretofore thought indeed unobtainable and has military advantage having, then it would obviously be worth the expense of both blood and treasure to indeed do that, to go get helium-3 and other minerals, and then give them a military strategic advantage that those things might provide in form of weaponry. So that's it. That's all. Just not really pro and con, but, well, if it's fake, that's what it would be. And if it's real, that's why they would be willing to do it at great expense. Thank you all. I'm going to have to promise now, even if I think of something else, this is it. This is enough. Not coming back for another bite of the apple. Take care. God bless.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.